meeting of the Amador Regional Sanitation Authority for Wednesday, March 19th to order. Will you all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. First item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there anybody have any questions or concerns about the consent agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, then we'll move on to our administrative agenda, and that's the Henderson Dam Underdrain Project, and I'm going to turn that over to Tom.
Yeah. So this has been a project, I think, on the books for some time. We've been combination of saving up funds and getting the reservoir low enough that we can do these repairs. We've had to get multiple extensions from the Department of Dam Safety, so they're kind of on us to get this done. So we brought this to you guys today just to let you know that we're moving ahead. We're going to issue the RFP. Wanted to have you guys have a chance to talk about it, hear about it. And then in our next meeting in April, the timeline is we'll basically have gone out for bids. We'll have our preferred bidder at that point, and we'll need you guys to approve it. And there's a fairly tight timeline that we'll be ready to do it in the summertime. So, and there's kind of a construction window based on how much it rains, how much water we can get rid of on the Castle Oaks Golf Course, or we can get in there and fix it. So Steven's here from Hydro Sciences. He's our engineer. I don't know if you want to add any background or technical information.
Sure. So the project is basically to slip line the underdrain of the dam. It's an aging asset, so over the past however many years, the bottom of the pipeline has eroded. So the bottom is basically gone, and it's now slowly eating away some of the earthen material under the dam.
Steel pipe or
concrete pipe?
Concrete pipe.
Yeah, so the project basically consists of pulling a plastic tube through the pipe and then grouting all of the annular space and basically filling in all of that void. There's other elements that are being constructed, such as backfilling another old pipe that's in the dam face, and then repairing any of the access and other ancillary items. The construction window we're anticipating is between really July through September, so that we can get the water level as low as possible before the contractor enters into Henderson Reservoir. There is a contract timeline or a stop September 30th for all activities in Henderson Reservoir, just to prevent any potential, rainfall events from interfering. As we get farther into October or November, it's just too much of a critical chance to risk any rainfall and then have the contractor in the reservoir when that happens. We anticipate receiving the bids and opening them on April 10th, and then conducting the evaluation, staff report, and then having the contract award at the next ARSA board meeting in April.
Does it include replacement of the gate valve and tube, Dan?
It doesn't include a replacement of it, but we are going to look at it. We've got drawings, and we'll probably make some repairs when we're down there. Yeah, that's one of our items that we want to get down there and look into it when it's all opened up.
Wasn't there Wasn't there also some sort of siphon off of there's a temporary fix that I thought was part of the under drain that we weren't,
The siphon's down at Preston, but that's been
Okay.
removed, so.
different thing.
Yeah.
So is your only disposal, or I assume Bowers and those properties will still be available for that point? And then, so then I know about with the golf course, take a look at the last, the water balance. Is there a backup to expedite that? I mean, maybe work with the prison, something like that, where they could use their spray fields. They have a lot of spray fields out there. I don't know what the likelihood is. I'm thinking you really want to get that thing drained quick, you know, and
Yeah.
because it's, I mean, that's the critical part is getting it drained, and then you got to figure out whatever's actually there. We need, you know, got to get a look at it.
I don't think we can get our water to their spray fields.
But that would divert water from Preston, maybe make more capacity available for us to put water in Preston,
Yeah.
maybe.
I mean,
They're not putting water in Preston though, are they?
They're not.
Or are they? They're not. They're only using the bypass.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
that's correct.
But we do need to,
Now that I think
and
about
it's
it.
probably something we need to, we do need to make sure that CDCR is okay with us going first next year.
Yeah, and I would
Yes.
check with regional too, and if there's some other way that they might give you just a, you know, some way to like, hey, we gotta get this done, can we do this? They might give you a little, you know, throw you something where you might be able to get that diverted and out quick as you can. Because I know
Yeah.
that, you know, there's a construction window barring any, who knows what's, that's the thing. I mean, you could have plenty of time and still run out. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
we're really low right now, so we're pretty
Okay,
confident that our water level at this point is good, you
Okay.
know? And so as long as we don't get a couple big more storms, I think we'll be pretty fine, so.
Yeah, as long as, right, yeah.
Yeah.
I always drive by party and figure what they're doing. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, they're dropping
exactly.
water, you better get ready for it.
Yeah, so.
Okay. And do you have any preferred bidders, or where you're advertising for the bids and all that?
We will begin advertising after this meeting.
Okay.
But right now, we're planning to distribute the documents to plan rooms so that it's accessible to as many bidders as possible. We have no, you know, preferred bidders per se. It's usually the lowest responsive bidder is going to win it.
Okay. And have you worked with anyone else, other potential bidders that you've worked with before that seem to have done a good job, or
Well,
this is kind of an odd job to be doing anyway. That's why I'm asking. There's people that are actually, have some expertise in this area.
yeah, there's this, I think, Dan, you had mentioned that there were two potential local contractors that may have experience with it.
Yeah, I don't know that Campbell might be, and then Sirocco we've used before, so
Okay.
they've done some bursting for us around town. I don't know if they've done anything that big.
And like slip lining too is kind of a specialized thing. And I don't
Mhm.
know if you, that would be that would probably be one of the bigger deals, because that's a, you know, we've investigated that and done some of that back in the day there. So I'm just curious. Okay, thank you.
Obviously, there's a concern that bids are going to come in over the estimated amount. I think the estimate was done a couple of years ago. So we're fingers crossed that we get some good estimates.
You have contingency built in, I assume, or?
Yeah,
Some-
I believe that there's a 10% contingency built into it.
Okay. And is there any opportunities for savings, or, I mean, over expenditure? I mean, you know, like you drain, you're gonna find out what you got. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, right now it's a pretty lean contract. I think we might have an addenda that adds a few details to it just to make sure that we've got every aspect covered. So I would have a hard time saying that we're going to cut anything from the contract, you know, to value engineer it at this point.
Okay. And then when do you think, like from the moment you start draining the time that it's empty, what's the timeline there?
So we're looking to have it as empty as possible, beginning of July, and then have all the contract work involving Henderson and the repairs done by September 30th.
Okay. As I was thinking with Ione and the golf course there, you might talk to them and see if they couldn't drain some of those ponds. I think it's like 1 million gallons that can be stored in the ponds that are on the golf course itself. If they actually, you know, knew this was coming, and they should, but have that conversation, say, hey, if you're gonna draw those ponds down, can you keep us in mind? We might be able to use that capacity, just because that's where they know they charge the ponds, and then it's pumped out. But that might be another place to store a bunch of water if you're trying to get the water emptied quicker. Just
Yeah.
a thought.
Yeah, thank you.
Tom, could you, so Is the RFP going out? What was the time, the dates on that?
Like tomorrow?
Tomorrow, okay.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
But
April
you,
10th.
but you don't need a motion or anything.
We
for-
don't. At
Okay.
first I thought we did. We need you guys to approve the actual bid. So
Okay,
we could have gone out without bringing this to you guys, but I wanted you guys to hear about it. So obviously it's a big project for
It's
ARSA.
huge. A long time coming.
Yep.
I've seen it on the agenda many times.
Yeah. Yeah, so if there's no other questions,
No, I'm good there.
that's really the item.
One more. Do you guys have preference points for locals, or is it straight bid across the board?
I believe it's lowest bid for the base bid items will
No
be
pre-
awarded as long as all the bonds, insurance, everything checks out.
I know in previous things that usually if you talk to the lawyer, they'll tell you that it's like a 10%, there's some little window you can give a preference, you 10% over the other guys if you want to go local, but some of that tends to be negotiated too. You can, legally, there's ways to do that.
County has.
It has to be, I don't know, if I remember, I don't know, this is going off old memory, but it might be like, has to be in the zip code or something along those lines. I forget the actual terminology there, but it's something along those lines. There's a way, it's just not, you can't give them a lot of preference, a lot of deference, I guess.
so, anything else on this item 5 then? We're good?
Yep.
No other questions? Then we'll go on to number 6, the general manager's report.
Yeah, I think the only thing there, it was in your consent items, but the final water balances, so all of those were revised from what you guys saw at the last meeting. Clearly, there's a problem there. The water board, you did not allow Ione to use percolation ponds, so they're short. I think it was 750 acre feet, which is a ton. And really, CDCR is short as well. And in certain years, they're talking about wanting to go back to putting some water into Preston. So the whole balance really doesn't work. We're going into this next phase of doing the joint water balance. And I think it's really just going to be an exercise to show that there's a problem. Like the water board hasn't told us we have to propose solutions at this point. But obviously we need to find solutions. So we're also, the permitting team at the water board is touring all the facilities. So they're going to be out here next week. And they have some new people on that team that have never seen, I think, Ione, CDCR, or ARSA. So it's just going to be a quick tour. But again, we think it'll take them 1 to 2 years to write new permits. So I don't know, if Stephen or Dan, did you guys have anything else on the water balance?
It looked like in the water balance, they crossed off Bowers flood irrigation. So was that our idea because we anticipate that we won't be able to do that, or did they tell us to do that?
They told us that,
So it's toast.
again, we can still use it now on our old permit, but they
Right.
won't allow it in the new permit. But even without Bowers, our water balance worked. According to the in-place permits are really ARSA going to the golf course, right? CDCR isn't on that permit. So our water balance technically works, even though in reality CDCR is there and it doesn't work.
I know, like I own that pond 6 and 7's. I mean, in the past, I mean, I was in the office when we were making these phone calls, trying. And what they were doing is they were actually pushing it down the road. We actually requested that they would allow us to use those. I'm saying, speaking from Ione's perspective, years ago, because it was like a more of an emergency type of thing. We didn't really use them a whole lot unless we had a really wet winter. We dump water in there, and it's kind of crazy. Because I'm on this groundwater thing, and it's like, well, that is actually putting water in the groundwater supply, but yet now they're trying to rule it out. I'm like, what are you guys doing? I mean, you got 2 agencies pulling either side of us. I'm like, I don't know who to please. Who's going to sue us? Who's going to fine us the most? I guess that's kind of what you got to figure. The other part of that too is that we do have the Ione itself does have farmland down gradient. It would require all the other stuff, the grading and the recovery and all that kind of stuff. But it's probably on order of about 2 or 3 times what they irrigate currently. same vendor. I don't know, I don't assume any contracts or contact with that person operates, but that might be an opportunity. I'm just speaking on that part of the balance. There was also years ago conceived of a pipeline that would run up to one of the mines, and that water would be used for dust mitigation was the initial thought, but the cost to build a pipe was a bigger deal. So sometimes you can actually use this water for dust control. It's kind of a weird way to do it, but you put out like high efficiency misters almost, and so your evapotranspiration is taking care of a lion's share, but then the rest of it is used to control dust. And if there's locations you have to locate within that down gradient area that might, I mean, it's a shoestring, but it might be something to be worth looking at if there's places that might be willing to make that happen. Just a thought. I've had a lot of these conversations over the years, but it just bears repeating, I guess.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty much it, Jim.
Okay. Well, since there's nothing else, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you for coming.
Always good to be here.
All right, good. How are you?
I'm great.
Good.